Clarity Over Indecision, Part 6. When you start second guessing, there's something that doesn't get talked about what happens after you finally take the step. You pray, you think, you slow down, you make the decision, and then almost immediately, did I do the right thing? It's almost predictable. You move forward, and instead of fireworks or instant peace, you get analysis. Sometimes that analysis is helpful. But sometimes it's second guessing, trying to pull you back to where you were comfortable. And those two things feel very similar at first. I've noticed this in my own life. You can wrestle with something for weeks, sometimes months. Then you finally say, all right, I'm going to do this. And the next day you wake up and think, well, maybe I moved too fast. Nothing external has changed, but internally the wind picks up. That doesn't automatically mean you were wrong. It means movement exposes uncertainty. When Peter stepped out of the boat, the wind didn't just appear. It was already there. He just became aware of it once he was standing on the water. And sometimes second guessing isn't proof you missed God. It's proof you moved. There's a difference between evaluating the decision and unraveling. Evaluation says, let me pause and make sure this still aligns. Unraveling says, I should never have done this. Evaluation is steady. Unraveling is emotional, and you have to learn the difference. Because if every time you feel internal pressure, you reverse course, you'll never move very far in life. Here's something simple I've learned. Take a step, then stop. Not to panic, not to rehearse every possible negative outcome, just to consider quietly. Does this still feel right? Not exciting, not dramatic, not adrenaline, just settled. If it still feels aligned with your values, take another step. If something feels off, adjust. Adjustment's not failure, but tearing everything down too quickly usually is. It's like planting something. You don't put a seed in the ground and dig it up the next morning to check progress. You watch, you water, you give it time. Now, if it clearly isn't growing after a reasonable period, you reassess. But you don't uproot it at the first quiet day. Some of you are digging things up too soon. Not because they're wrong, but because they haven't produced visible confirmation yet. And you're uncomfortable with that silence. Second guessing often comes from a good place. You don't want to be foolish. You don't want to lead people wrong. You don't want to waste time. That's responsible. But responsibility can turn into paralysis if you don't manage it. Here's a steady filter. Was the decision made carefully? Was it aligned with what I believe is right? Was it responsible? If yes, then don't reverse direction just because your emotions caught up with your movement. Take another small step, then pause again. Clarity often grows progressively, not in dramatic flashes. And here's something important. Sometimes peace doesn't arrive all at once. Sometimes peace grows as you see fruit, and fruit takes time. So if you stepped into something recently and now you're wondering whether you made a mistake, slow down. Don't panic. Don't swing to the other extreme. Just pause. Consider. Then take another step if it still aligns. You don't need total certainty. You need steady evaluation. We'll close this series next time by talking about living with ongoing clarity. Because clarity isn't a one-time breakthrough. It's a way of operating. It's something you practice. And it gets stronger the more you use it. Sometimes the most mature thing you can do is take a step, pause, and then take another. That's not weakness, that's steadiness. And steadiness will take you further than emotional certainty ever will.